Michael Van Runkle here for HotCars.com. Welcome to another retro review. Although to be honest, this car is not particularly retro. It's a 1 year only 2005 Subaru Legacy 2.5 GT. And the important thing is here, it's the station wagon and it's got a stick shift. It's sort of like an STI with a dad bod. Subaru didn't build a ton of these in station wagon form with the stick shift, so that makes them super rare, super desirable, and values are on the rise. The question is it worth it? They've got everything you love about Subaru in a daily drivable package. It's comfortable, it's more luxurious than any STI or WRX, and it's got more room on the inside. Plus, you can put some stuff on top with a roof rack. So I want to walk you through it inside and out and take you for a drive. But in the meantime, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out. We got to start under the hood because that's what makes this thing really special. Subaru used a WRX short block from like the equivalent 2004 to 2006 era, but they put STI heads on this thing. That means the turbocharged 2.5 liter engine is rated at 250 horsepower and 250 pound-feet of torque. At least that's what it was doing when it was brand new. Now this thing has 173,000 miles on it. It routes that power to all four wheels through a pretty nice 5-speed, which compared to the STI 6-speed is a little disappointing, but hey, it shares that with the WRX, which means parts are cheaper in the long run. And that takes us to the interior, which I want to show you next. If it sounds like everything in this car is something of a highlight, that's because it sort of is. This thing is way nicer than any WRX or STI. This is a 2.5 GT Limited, which means leather seats. We got seat heaters here. We got a CD player. This is not nav, even though it sort of looks like it. We got a Momo steering wheel, and this one, the only option is a Momo short shift kit, which actually is almost a little too short. It's tall, but it's also very short throw. I would almost prefer shorter with a little longer throw, if that makes sense. It's really just generally very comfortable. Your driving position is perfect. You got plenty of space. I can back this seat up real far. The back seat has plenty of room for leg room still. It's really a much larger, more comfortable vehicle in every way. The materials are higher quality on every surface. It's wearing pretty well. The only things I've really noticed are that the steering wheel is a little bit delaminated. But this thing has lived its entire life parked outside and driving in LA traffic. So really, what do you expect? I've been keeping my eye out for these things for years, and I rarely see one that's exactly as nice as this one. From what I've found online, only 1,461 of these things, I'm talking the station wagon with a stick shift, were sold in America for the 2005 model year. And even fewer of those were in limited trim, which is the nice interior. But they've all got the great spacious back seat, station wagon layout. The rear seats fold down. There's plenty of room for gear. You got a roof rack. You've got a gigantic sunroof, which I would never use because I'm a slick top guy. And that sort of takes us to the exterior, which I want to highlight. I would say it's a pretty good looking car. It's just a simple station wagon. It doesn't have any of the boy racer stuff going on that a WRX or an STI might have, especially tuned ones with massive wings and all that. All you've got is this little thing here to say, hey, maybe this thing is a little sportier than your general Outback. And obviously the ride height isn't quite as high. This thing rides on 17s. They're 215 at all four corners. And it's got the hood scoop to show that it's got a turbocharger. The smooth hood cars are less desirable because they don't have that kind of grunt from the turbo. For just about a 15-year-old car, I'd say it's aged pretty well. The paint is doing fine. It's got a little bit of sun fading damage, that kind of thing. The wheels are messed up, but yeah, it's a daily driver. What are you gonna do? All in all, this is a little bit rubbed up, but that's because you're putting so much gear in this thing because it's your daily driver. And it's a much cleaner design and something that I think Subaru could really learn from again, especially considering the new WRX and STI designs that are so angular and so aggressive. Yeah, they're aggressive rally-inspired cars, but come on guys, this is way cooler. So it's a lot nicer on the inside. I like the exterior a lot more. It's lower than an Outback. It's got STI sort of WRX power. It's got the stick shift. The question is, how does it drive? 173,000 miles and 16 years later? Well, let's find out. The story of this car is my oldest friend's mom bought it new in late 2004. At the time, we thought it was cool. Mom got a really fast station wagon, and it was a stick shift. I mean, whose mom buys stick shift cars? It was only later that we realized how awesome of a car it is. So how does it drive? It's really impressive. It's got enough torque, low down, for city driving, but when you punch it, and you really get up into the turbo, there's plenty of power. Here in the curves, surprisingly little body roll. That's that flat 4 engine, keeping the center of gravity super low. And the suspension is holding up very well, 173,000 miles in. The steering weight is perfect. It takes speed bumps really well. The shifter's a little notchy, but the clutch is excellent. It has great sort of engagement about a third of the way off the floor. And that sort of brings up maintenance. This is a stick shift station wagon. It's a Subaru. They haven't had any head gasket issues. It was the first question I asked. I said, how reliable has it been? And they said, it's been incredible. All they've had to do is clutch jobs. They've changed the clutch 3 times, and they did have to replace the rear wheel bearings in 173,000 miles. I wonder if that's because they put the STI heads on the EJ 255 block. That's the WRX block with the STI heads. It's putting out 20 more horsepower than a WRX, but 50 less than the STI. The gear ratios are pretty good too. When you're in first, you know, it revs up pretty quickly and it gives you that low end grunt off the line. Second is a little taller. I think you could probably get to just around 60 miles an hour at the red line of 6,500 RPM. And of course, we have to talk about turbo lag. In this car, you're really not in the turbo till 3,500 RPM. And you're really feeling the boost at 4,000 and up. I had a stage 1 tune on my Mark 1 Audi TT, and that really made a difference. It dropped down the turbo, so it kicked in at like 2,500, 2,700 RPM. I'd probably do that if this was my car. And let's be serious, tunability is a huge advantage on this Subaru because it shares so many parts with Imprezas, WRXs, STIs. Get yourself a Cobb access port. A little bit slightly louder exhaust might be nice just to help when you're driving more spiritedly. Nothing too loud. Pushing it a little harder in the curves. It's got great grip even though it's not on 18-inch wheels and only 215 wide tires. And you can hear that engine roar a little. As a bigger wagon, it does weigh a little bit more than a WRX or an STI. I've seen online that it could be anywhere 3,200 to 3,500 pounds. 3,500 is probably the automatic. This is the stick shift, so I'd imagine it's closer to 3,200 pounds. When you're driving it, you can hear a little bit of turbo whine, which I love to hear after having my Mark 1 Audi TT all those years ago. And it is a little bit nose heavy, even though I'm not going too hard here. I can feel that it's got a little bit of weight on the nose. But all in all, STI with a dad bod is really the way to describe this thing. It's not unpleasant like an STI, even though it clunked a little bit as we just pulled over. It's not uncomfortable. It doesn't feel cheap. It's comfortable. There's room for everything, and it's really the perfect one-car solution. Everyone always talks about the 2-car solution, but that's, of course, a truck and a sports car. If you were gonna have one car to do everything, daily drive, to have some fun in the canyons, to haul up to the ski resorts, this might just be the best one. If you're into this car and you're looking for one, I bid you good luck because they're super hard to find. Once again, thanks for watching, and please like this video and subscribe to our channel. It makes a huge difference for us.